What if I told you the first step to cracking the UPSC civil service examination is right behind your chair? Yes, I'm talking about the NCERT books. But do you need to read all of them? Absolutely not. Many people might have told you that NCERTs are very important before you start your UPSC civil service examination. But very few tell you what NCERTs to actually read. Hello all, welcome to Amigos IAS and this is Manoj. Today I'm here to share what all NCERTs you need to read for the UPSC civil service examination to build a strong foundation for your preparation. But before that, we need to answer a very crucial question. Why do we need to read NCERTs at all? Can we skip it? Absolutely not. You can't skip the NCERTs at any cost. This is mainly for two reasons. First reason being, these NCERTs are government published books, meaning they are authentic, factual and very simple to understand. Furthermore, they are very important for you to understand the basics of many core subjects like polity, economy, geography, history and general science. And secondly, they are important because the UPSC always try to lift up the statements directly from the NCERTs. So, ultimately it becomes very important for us to read all these NCERTs. Now, moving on to the main aspect of the video, which NCERTs to read for the UPSC civil service examination, we will decode step by step. So, first of all, the first subject we are going to talk about is history. So, in history, we have our past 1, our past 2 and our past 3 of class 6, 7 and 8 NCERT books. So, by reading these books, you will understand the basics of the ancient, medieval and the modern India. You have class 9 and class 10 books also, which are named India and the Contemporary World. So, if you read that, it will be helpful for your world history. But the class 6 to 8 NCERTs are very important, and we have other NCERT called the Themes in the Indian History Part 1, 2 and 3 of class 12. So, here don't skip the class 6 to 8 books at all, because they will give you a fundamental timeline of the history. So, it's very important to remember for you, or it's very easy for you to remember in a story-like format. Whereas the class 12 NCERT will be very helpful to give you a critical analysis of the subject. And we have one crucial aspect called art and culture in this history. So, for that, you need to refer to class 11 NCERT of Introduction to Indian Art. So, by reading this book, you will have a fundamental knowledge or basics of all the aspects related to Indian history, or particularly art and culture part of the Indian history. Now, moving on to talk about the second subject, which is geography. We all know geography is very conceptual and interesting, but many people struggle with this particular subject. So, for the people who are all struggling with this subject, you can refer to class 6 to class 10 NCERTs of all NCERTs of the geography, starting from class 6 to class 10. So, by reading these NCERTs, you will have a very good knowledge or very good idea of even the basic aspects like the latitudes, longitudes and the international dateline, international even the time zone. All these basic, it covers from the very basics also. And then we have class 11 NCERTs, where are the fundamentals of physical geography and India and the physical environment. Okay, so these are class 11 NCERTs. And we have class 12 NCERTs. We have 2 NCERTs of class 12 also. So, these NCERTs are very important for geography, and these NCERTs have very good diagrams, very good concepts, which will help you understand the subject very easily. At the same point of time, simplify your effort for the preparation. When we talk about geography, and obviously we need to talk about environment also. See, even in environment, we have very basic concepts like ecology, environment, many other things. So, for environment, you need to refer to the class 12 textbook of the biology, to the chapters of 13, 14, 15 and 16. So, these 4 chapters are going to give you some fundamental knowledge about the concepts in the environment. Then moving on to talk about economy. So, with respect to economy, if you're facing much difficulty or you feel that economy is very difficult for you to understand, then you can start with class 9 and 10, which are very basic in nature and you will have very basic knowledge. But whereas you have the class 11 NCERT, which is nothing but the Indian economic development, and we have class 12 NCERT, which is the introductory macroeconomics. So when you refer to these NCERTs, you will have a very good knowledge, or you will get a very good idea of some concepts like poverty, how the state of Indian economy was there after independence. So all these basic concepts you will have a very good idea. And the class 12 NCERT, you will have some important concepts also. Then moving on to talk about the polity subject. So polity, the concepts are like fundamental rights, fundamental duties. You observe all these concepts, and also with respect to Indian judiciary, executive, legislature. So the class 11 NCERT, Indian Constitution at Work, will give a very good idea of all these basic concepts, and many questions were also asked from that particular NCERT. And we have one more NCERT for class 11, which is the political theory, which will give a basic idea of some very few concepts like secularism, etc. So you have to read this books at any cost, or you don't miss out these books, because once you complete these books, or once you understand the concepts which are mentioned in these two particular books thoroughly, you will thank me, or you will thank yourself while reading the Lakshmikant, because Lakshmikant seems like will become very easy for you to understand when you complete these particular books. Now, then we have one more crucial subject, which is the general science, or be it like science and technology. So the NCERTs from class 6 to 10 will provide all the basic understanding you need with respect to general science. But especially the class 9 and the class 10 book are very important for you to understand some basics, which are important for you to understand the advanced concepts in the science and technology also. So the class 9 and class 10 of the science books are very, very important. Then lastly, we have the society part. In the society, you need to read to the class 11 NCERT, which is the understanding society. Then we have two books of class 12, which are related to the Indian society, referred to these two books also. So by referring to these three books, you will have a fundamental knowledge, or the fundamental idea of what all aspects are covered in this particular segment. And I missed on one particular section, which is the international relations. So for the international relations, it might seem very dynamic, but for you to understand those dynamic aspects, you need to have some basic knowledge of how the politics in the world has evolved. For that, we have two polity NCERTs of class 12, which are contemporary world politics and politics in India since independence. So this will help you with respect to the post-independence and consolidation also. So these are the NCERTs you need to refer with respect to all the subjects. By referring to these NCERTs, once you sit in the class, or once you read any particular standard book, no term will seem new to you. You will be very familiar with all the terminologies used, all the language used in that particular subject, and you will have a guiding light. It seems like a guiding light for you to complete the subject. Let me leave you to this. Every topper you have heard of, be it Srishti Deshmukh, Tina Darby, or Roman Saini, all of them started their preparation with the NCERTs itself. So it is up to you whether you need to read them or not. But let me tell you this, by reading all these NCERTs, you are going to have a fundamental knowledge, or a generic knowledge of all the aspects which you are going to cover in the preparation. So along with this video, in the description, we are going to attach the NCERT checklist, or the NCERT book list, which need to be studied before starting your UPSC CSE preparation. If you have found this video helpful, please share with your friends, please hit the like button, and also subscribe to the channel for more such videos. As I mentioned earlier in the videos also, we are going to make a UPSC 101 Beginner's Guide playlist, which will guide every aspirant who is going to start with the UPSC CSE preparation, who has all the basic questions before starting the preparation. All your questions and doubts will be answered through these video series. We'll be back again with another video of this wonderful playlist. Thank you.